Too many traders blow up their trading accounts by adding to losers. But the pros have actually learned the opposite skill, how to add to their winners. In this video, you'll learn how tape reading can help you add to your winning trades in a systematic, low-risk way so you can win even bigger on your best trades. I'm Mike Bellafiore, and we are a long-standing proprietary trading firm in New York City with numerous highly successful traders, almost all of whom have started their trading careers with SMB. All of us at SMB hope you find this channel to be a wonderful place for you to learn and grow as a trader.
So today I'm going over some tape on a trade I took on ESPR on December 7th. So yeah, this is a therapeutics company. They had some positive news on a cardiovascular phase 3 trial, which is fine. That's good to see for a potential fade setup on a low float like this. Looking on the daily chart, this gap, it was this day, of course, this gapped up quite a lot. Really blew out this range on quite some large volume in the pre-market. I want to now get to the tape, and I want to show you the trade I took specifically. This popped up on one of my scanners, and the number one thing to see here is this like descending triangle or wedge or pattern or whatever. You want to see it base out here. I initially entered here. I just hit one lot. So I just hit one lot short. And we see this large volume candle. This was really important to see. And I really don't want to see this thing get back above 840s. I think the idea would be, would need some more time after that. So the main strategy here for this type of trade is to add on pullbacks and just kind of cover into weakness.
So yeah, really quickly. So to set the context, yes, it's a wedge breakout, technical pattern, whatever you want to call it. For the classification that I'm using on this, I'm going to call it the tidal wave scalp. These are trades that can be move trades, but a lot of times you need to start them as a scalp because you're not actually risking against the high. When you're taking this trade, you're risking against a significantly lower high. You're risking against a pullback high. And why it's a tidal wave is you see 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth test through. So you think about a tidal wave and the momentum building each time. You know, a tidal wave just doesn't come out of nowhere. The momentum builds and builds and builds, and then the flood kind of rushes it all the way through, right? The floodgates break. So the same thing's happening here. And that plays out as a wedge pattern, or it plays out in different ways. But that's setting the context in my mind, at least. And it sounds like in your mind as well, of this isn't just I'm looking for a very small scalp. You can, but it's being aware of how the price action has traded and the volatility that has occurred every time it comes down to that price. So now you can set the context for what you could do moving forward based on what the tape is doing.
Right. So this ended up being a scalp trade, but in hindsight, looking back, it was an all-day fader. I was looking just to target these pre-market lows, like 758, 730 area. I don't know if you can see here.
Why were you looking to target that area? I'm just curious.
With this low float, like fade scalp, what I do usually is I target first the pre-market lows. Price popped up here and I added. And I want to make something clear that I only add if the volume at that time is low. So I don't wait for the volume candle to finish. Whatever volume is done at the time of the pop, I usually just add, especially if it pulls back and repaints the candle.
I'm really curious, just so for a point of reference for me, do you have the tape of the breakdown?
Right here? Yeah.
Can we go to that spot just for a second? Because I oftentimes find that actually can set the context of, do I need to scalp this or am I looking for potentially more? So let's study that. I mean, just play it from where it was. That's fine.
If you want to learn 3 real-world setups that our professional traders use, including the simple but highly effective setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner. Check out the free online trading workshop that we're currently running. This is a 100% free, intensive workshop where you're going to learn more in a couple of hours than from years of online education. So don't miss it.
So what I'm seeing is I'm seeing stacked offers. Stacked offers. And what's the level? Like 20, basically?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the bids. Like, I'm not seeing anything that's like, this is not going to break. Right? And so, like, you see the pressure building, but I don't see anything that's like saying, no, I'm going to stop you here.
There was some a little bit here, but really nothing crazy.
But that's nothing relative to the size that we saw, right? Like, it's just moving around there. It's not a change at all. And so with the volume, and you're seeing the number of prints going off in the time and sales, the speed at which they're picking up, all that is just telling me, okay, let me watch the offer and see how well they keep stepping it down.
Exactly. I usually don't like to hit the lows on this, on low floats like this in general, but there were no buyers really present.
So, absolutely. So it affords you the opportunity to say, listen, if there are no buyers here, this should go down pretty nicely and pretty quickly.
Right.
But if buyers all of a sudden step in, I'll just take my position off. It's not the end of the world.
Okay, so we popped. I add a little bit because we have this low volume candle.
Yep.
There is some very minor size here, but nothing crazy. We're still above $8. So I'm watching this carefully because $8 is a whole level and a whole number, and that matters in these somewhat. Fast forward a little bit. We break through on increased volume here.
Yep.
So yeah, some size at 93.
But there's, again, what sort of adjectives would you use to describe the tape?
Just very weak.
Weak is a good adjective. Even if you see size, that doesn't mean that the tape is changing. It just means that there's size. But if it doesn't change anything,
I was just saying that there, even though there was size, there was no real reaction to it.
Right? There's no reaction. Nobody's like, oh man, I got to cover my short here.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to step in and buy it off of that size. Like, there's just no reaction.
We pull back here on basically no volume, and I add another lot because it's just a good entry. And then if I fast forward a little bit more here, see, we repaint the candle. See, some size at 75, but we just kind of cut right through it.
Yep. What would you expect right now? Size at 75, you cut through it at rebids. What do you expect?
I would expect us to reclaim $8 if 75 held.
Yes, absolutely. I would expect us to pop, and with a type of move, I would expect people to be in trouble. So I'm thinking, do I need to reduce my position? Where do I need to reduce my position? What would I need to see? None of that happens. Absolutely none of my reasons to sell occur.
Yeah. So this wasn't a completely perfect trade, I will say. It ended up, giving a lot more than I actually took. I targeted, well, so after this tape, I'll show you the levels on my chart, but 758, 760 was an area of a minor support area, probably like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 support from the pre-market. This was a scalp. I was planning on just scalping this small move to these pre-market support levels.
Yep.
Ideally, next time I would have probably hit this slightly heavier just because of the weakness of the tape, and there's really no reason to
hit it heavier where?
Yeah. So I'd probably hit it heavier right when we got this candle here, this flush on higher volume, right through $8. I would have hit it probably somewhere around here. I'm probably risking risking a portion of that size to back through this level here.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that because you get the low volume consolidation. Like if this was gonna dip and rip on you, you know, if it was gonna break the level, come right back up, you would expect the volume to increase significantly on that break lower. You would expect the reason why it dips and rips is participants are down there, or they trap because of a lack of volume, and then they rip it higher. They didn't. So you can make a tape trade there, and you don't even need to risk the breakout area. You're literally risking to the high of that, like 2 cents above the high of that candle for pure momentum. I actually like the trade of hitting it more with size on the initial break, because I think that there's like you're risking against that recent turn right there. Yep. Yeah, you're risking against there, and I understand that that's uncomfortable, but think about the probability of that move on the break with volume, and then you're not risking from lower, right?
Right.
You're risking from where you should be risking in the trade. Again, that the reason why that occurred was because we didn't see any buying pressure there on the tape.
Right.
And we didn't see any reason to not be pretty aggressive with that. You know, a lot of times something coming into a level, particularly in a tidal wave type setup, you'll see a lot of size every time it comes down to that bid, which is why the price action jumps away from that level so quickly. You can see it jumped away from that level on the open or early on in the session, jumped away from that level the first time it came back, tried to jump away from that level again. I can't see the times on there, but that third time that it went. And then that next time it didn't even hesitate to try and jump away from that level. It just kind of went. And so that last time through, that's where maybe you could put size on and then just, be more comfortable with the idea that this could go and I'm just going to let it go as far as I want to. I love the fact that you're adding to your trade, though. I know that's a strength of yours in particular. And especially as a developing trader, you want to understand what the right thing to do is for you, and then to do that as many times as you're given an opportunity to do it, and then manage risk on the other end of it.
Right.
You haven't even formally, we're excited. You're finishing your finals this week, and then you're going to join the desk next week, or in a couple weeks. So you've got a long road ahead of you. And so this is awesome that you're recognizing these habits when you're just starting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I just want to show you my my trading view, trader view executions.
Yep.
So this 760s was a level from the pre-market. Okay, you see here I'm adding on these like upper wicks on low volume, like I said before.
Yep.
Like you said, adding on a winning position is a strength of mine. I have recognized that, but one of my main goals for this month was to improve on my executions. Basically, for setups like this, I want to be hitting, adding into strength and covering into weakness instead of the opposite, because I've taken plenty of paper cuts.
Yep.
Doing that. So this was basically the trade I took, but as you can see, it just faded the whole day.
Do we know that when you're taking the trade?
No. Well, what I'm trying to get to is the trade I took was good, but if I was heavier here, I could have taken half of my position off, distributed amongst these support levels, and then just trailed the rest with like a 20 EMA or something.
Yeah, you could say that, but the reality is, even then, I don't think you can make that decision on entry. But what we did notice was how weak the tape was.
Yeah.
And that's a real-time decision of if I'm usually going to cover 25% or 10% or whatever, maybe I just cover 5.
Right.
And then keep my stop really tight for that other 20% that I was going to normally cover. Right? Because how many times have we gifted a weak tape like this?
Not that often.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the stock telling you, Cameron, you're right. Hold this thing. Just hang on to it, man. Just don't cover too quick. Just don't rush it here. Just take your time. We'll pay you more. Don't worry. And it's really tough to make that real-time adjustment. But exactly what you pointed out, this was a tape that afforded you the opportunity to make that real-time adjustment. Most tapes will not. Most tapes, you won't see this weakness. You'll see that big bid come in and it'll pop up a little bit and kind of make you uncomfortable. and then maybe it rolls over, or maybe it tries to roll over and then catches again. This one, big size. I can't say this because we're recording it, but there's like 0 F's given about the big size that are coming in, right?
Yeah.
Literally just like no one cares. They're just selling it and selling it and selling it. And that moments like that are the market or that stock telling you, you should adjust your trading plan and you should just be more hold-minded until you have a reason to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's a tough adjustment to make real time, but you want to study tapes like this because of that feeling.
Right.
And I would agree. Technically, you made the right trade. And there is not even an expectation that 2 months from now you'll be picking up on the subtleties of the tape and the way it feels. I think through this reading the tape, you've seen an example of this. Mm-hmm. And you could probably recognize another example. And then eventually you'll make that change one time. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I know how to do this. And then you'll start to recognize times that you can do that or times that you can't. So these are all things that are just habits that you're going to build over time. You should not put the expectation on yourself to get this right the first time you see it or the first time you experience it. The expectation is that you will learn and that you will eventually work towards making that adjustment.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really good.
I mean, overall, I think you had a 9 out of 10 on the trade. I love the fact that you're being aggressive when you have a really good opportunity and you're finding ways to add. Any excuse to add to the trade, I think is the best thing possible, because a lot of times in a trade like this, you're like, how quickly can I get risk off? How quickly can I settle? But when you have a really good setup, you want to be ad-minded, particularly when you're given a reason to add, which you pointed out, those low volume pauses, right? They're not retracements, they were just pauses. Those can be a good reason to add. What I think, why I won't give you a 10 out of 10 on this is simply because of the adjustments, right? And that's an experience thing. You're going to recognize the adjustments to make based on the way the tape's trading. And yes, a best practice is to have a target in mind for where this trade should go. But an even better practice is having that target in mind and then letting the tape tell you where it's going to go.
Right. That's a really good observation.
So I really like this. And again, it's a unique situation because most of the time tapes won't do this. Most of the times tapes are going to tell you, this might be a little tough, I better buckle up. When they tell you it's really easy right now, just like live in that moment. Be present and enjoy that moment, because it almost feels uncomfortable. You're like, this is too easy. But then it pops up and then the tape tells you that it's not actually too easy. This is just what's happening.
Right. Yeah. I've seen a lot of these happen. And I've also seen it, break and then retest, wick hard here on high volume and then consolidate and then stuff again. I've seen craziness happen regarding these types of setups. So I need to recognize the characteristics of the tape that separate trades like this from any other low float short.
And it's great. I bet you if you looked at this and maybe with different filters today, Tesla went down like $20 or something like that intraday. I bet you the tape would feel very similar. It would look a little different, but I bet you it would feel very similar.
Oh yeah, I was watching a tape today in Tesla, and just nobody was coming in to buy this thing. It was just bleeding out the whole day.
And so recognizing not just what is the tape doing for this stock in this moment, but what is the feeling of this tape and what does that tape feel like to me? That is the information that you want to pick up on. You'll feel tapes that are exceptionally strong. You'll feel tapes that, like this, are exceptionally weak. And in those extremes, that's when you can make the best adjustments to your trading by sometimes just not doing anything.
Right.
So, all right. Overall, great job. Thank you very much for sharing this tape with us.
Yes, thank you.
And we're so excited to have you join the desk, I think, next week.
So you're an active trader, not doing as well as you want, not doing as well as you deserve, and you just can't figure out why you can't become profitable no matter how hard you try. Well, let me show you why. This is your competition. The traders in this room. This room right here is full of elite traders, some of whom are making 7 and even 8 figures a year. In fact, our top guys have made nearly 20 million each in net trading profits in a single year. Let's head to my office so I can share more. So you're probably used to seeing videos of lavish trader lifestyles, trading gurus trading off of a laptop for an hour a day, heck, maybe even 15 minutes a day, and then them relaxing on some secluded beach for the rest of the day. Well, all I can tell you is that our traders train like pro athletes. They live and breathe the markets and are continually working on their trading skills. Because at our firm, that's what we found it really takes to make it in this game. I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder and managing partner of SMB Capital, one of the world's top proprietary trading firms located in Midtown Manhattan. And we're always looking for trading talent to hire and develop. And not just to trade in-house on our desk, but also to trade from their own home, entirely using our firm's capital. And we have numerous traders doing just that, allowing them to make upwards of 7 figures trading the firm's capital without risking their own money. But to even get a shot at something like that, you need to have the right training. That's why we're doing a new free online presentation in which we share how you can get an interview with SMB to become an in-house or remote trader, trading firm capital without risking yours and gaining access to all of our firm's coaching and resources. And the best part? You don't have to be a profitable trader yet. In fact, we prefer to mold profitable traders with our methods and our techniques. That's why we have just 3 simple criteria that can earn anyone an interview. We're looking for highly ambitious and determined traders who fit our culture first and foremost. So if you believe that could be you, sign up for the free 1-hour online presentation by clicking the link that's in your top right corner of your screen now.